Thanks for your time and thanks for your patience. We are happy to have you again. My name is Oladele Ayorinde. For some of you who have been joining us and who have been following this series, um, I want to appreciate you again for joining us and finding time to follow this process and how the series has been evolving and developing from one stage to the other in the last few months. Thanks so much for your time and for the followership and for the love and for the engagement. Today is another day. We have a different focus and a different package today. I know you have been waiting for it. I know you have been waiting for it. And I'm happy today that we are having some of our great scholars, writers, musicians, and everything you can call them. And I'm also sure you have questions, for them. I'm sure you have questions, you have things you want to get clarification on. But most importantly, they are here to respond and help us move in this process, particularly in the case of, everything is money. Money is everything. Research is money. Artistic work is money. And everything we do also requires a kind of funding in one way or the other. Whatever that means for you, today, we are moving into that process. But before that, I will return to that shortly. I'd like to acknowledge the management of Mountaintop University for giving us this space and for the accommodation and supporting this initiative, particularly in the person of the Vice Chancellor, Professor Elijah Ayolabi, and of course, our own HOD, the person of Dr. Bayo Ogunyemi. We really appreciate you for supporting this initiative and also promoting these wonderful ideas and creating this platform for conversation and exchanges among us, particularly within the Nigerian context. So to get back to the business of the day, today, the focus is a bit different and not so different. It's different in the sense that the Organ House concert and seminar series is a space for artistic exploration, artistic work, composition, and theorization, and practical issues of music performance and music studies. In the past, we've had discourse around composition, theories, analysis, up to ideas around archiving and documentation and issues around city. In all, this space is a multidisciplinary space that is rooted in music studies and performance and analysis and whatever you call it, but within music studies. So that is the foundation of what we do here. But today, we are moving towards, or we are wearing another cap today, and that cap is to focus on those things that enables artistic work, the dynamics, things that we should focus on, things that enables research, things that enables a scholarly work, both in the arts and social sciences, as well as humanities, and any allied discipline, both within the academia and within the NGOs and business world. So today we are happy to and privileged enough, to stage this kind of conversation that brings people together, particularly those who are working in the art. So today I'm happy. I would like to invite to introduce to us our presenter for the day. So we have two presenters today. Both of them are quite known to many of us, and they are also very new to some of us. So today's conversation is around grant making. The question is, what is grant? What are the layers of grant? And how do scholars engage ideas of funding? How do we go about it? What are the nuances? What are the secrets, to use another word, of getting funding for your project, either in their scholarly work, in the business world, in the concert world, or in production? Some of us are into opera production. Some of us are into educational production. We have series of projects here and there. So today, the business is simply to talk about ways, how, and what is funding, and how do we get them. On that note, I would like to welcome our noble scholars and friends and colleagues. Two of them. The first, Dr. Olusegun Titus, which some of us are quite known, is a common phenomenon among the scholarly discourse, particularly in Nigeria and Africa and beyond. So thanks so much. You are welcome, Dr. Titus. Can you please unmute Dr. Titus? Okay. I can't hear him. That's it. Okay. Okay. Thanks so much, Dr. Titus. Then,
thank you so much.
Great. Yeah. So,
can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you clearly now. Thank you so much. So, can we also welcome our second panelist and presenter of the day, the person of Mr. Bola Ola, who is joining us from Boston University. Mr. Bola, thanks so much for joining us today. How are you today?
Oh, good afternoon. Thank you so much for that welcome. Thank you very much. I'm happy to be here.
Great. So, without wasting much of our time again or delay, let's get into the business. But before the business, I think the question of the day and things we really want to explore, like we all know, is the issues around grant and grant making and how this speaks to scholarship to start with, or artistic work to start with in Nigeria, then Africa and beyond. But primarily, let's start from home. How do we go about these things and how? But I think we have a few questions here, and we are going to take them one by one so we can explore. So the first one to start with is simply, I think it's better for you to fully introduce yourself. People need to know who you are. I am happy to, I want you to do that yourself. So let's get to know you. Where do we start from? We need to know our presenters, what they do, where they're coming from, and what they've done, and why, in quote, must we listen to them? Yeah. So where do we start from? Where do we start from?
Anyone?
Okay, let's have Dr. Titus, please. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much. Are you hearing me, please?
Definitely, I can hear you clearly.
Thank you very much. All right, thank you very much. I'm happy to be here, and it's a great privilege to be here in Mountaintop virtually, and I'm a musicologist. I completed my PhD at University of Ibadan, and I'm happy to be in Great Ife, Obama University for now. I mean, and sorry, UI people, I'm still with you, but OAU is paying me, and I can see my boss, I can see my professors on the platform, and I'm so grateful for the privilege they've given me to move around, and I'm so grateful. Also, I study music, and I'm into what we call ecomusicology, we call music, oil, and gas, or kind of trajectories of climate change or climatic musicology. And I'm currently at Constant University as an experienced scholar of Alexander von Humboldt, Humboldtian's fellow in Constant University in Germany here. So I think for now, that is what I do. And I'm also into, wealth creation awareness, and as acadapreneur, as I term it, educating and enlightening people about wealth creation from research to wealth. Thank you for listening.
Thank you so much, Dr. Titus Olusegun. Well, like you said, let's keep it that way. But the Titus is a big phenomenon. Let's just say it the way it is in our today's scholarly discourse, particularly in Nigeria and the African landscape. So thanks so much. It's a huge, opportunity having you today in this conversation at Mountaintop and the Organ House, precisely, today. Thank you so much. So let's quickly move to let's go to Boston to see, to listen to, to get to know our second presenter for the day, our second panelist for the day.
Thank you so much, Dr. Ayorinde, for this, beautiful seminar series. I'm really delighted to be here with you. My name is Adebola, but call me Bola. And I'm currently doing my PhD at Boston University. So I'm talking to you from the US. Most of my previously I've worked on research around East Africa and Southern Africa, particularly South African popular music. I've done some work on Ethiopian skill systems and Arabic or let's say West Asian skill systems, the Makam and the modes. But currently I'm working on music and language, looking at how musicians manipulate non-somatic instruments to mimic some form of speech surrogacy. And in addition to that, I have a few certificates in copyright law from the Copyright X program from Harvard University, and some courses in grant writing and arts management. Yeah, I think, that's it for now.
Oh, thank you so much, Mr. Bola. Thanks so much. Thanks for that. Getting to know you. So, well, I don't think I need further introduction. Although my position today is twofold. On the one hand, I am your usual host, of course, the convener. Then today, beside our wonderful, two scholars and presenters, beside also I will also share a few things, particularly while engaging them. So it's going to be three. So my name remains Oladele Ayorinde. So I work in what we call the political economy of music and everyday life in Africa, particularly issues around music industry, music economics of music, and the ideas of value. What is value? How do we create value? What constitutes value? When you listen to a piece of music, what attracts you to it? Why did you pay for a particular piece of music? Why did you pay for a concert? Why did you attend a particular program? A for B. So these are the kind of things I engage from the perspective of musicology, ethnomusicology, and also from the artistic perspective. But my work itself is steeped in what we call economic ethnomusicology, or you say economic musicology as a case. Yeah. So for now, that's a little, for now, you get to know more about me, definitely. But let's get back to the business of the day. So let's start from somewhere. So the first question we would like to explore, which is quite germane to a discourse or the focus of today's business, is this. I'm going to read it very, very slowly for you to see and to understand clearly. What are the strategies for successful funding / grant applications in arts and culture, humanities, or social sciences? Again, what are the strategies for successful funding in arts, social sciences, or humanities? That is the first question. So where do we start? Who is starting with us? We're going to do that. Yeah. I think Dr. Sala is muted again. You can unmute. You can unmute yourself, Dr. Titus.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are you hearing me now?
Yes, sir. Clearly.
Good. Thank you. As I was saying, maybe I should start. USDT.
It's not hard again.
This question is very critical, to winning or writing successful or getting funding actually. And if I may say, it's not just within arts and culture alone, because I have some guys, I think they are here now, they are in computers engineer, engineer. They are computer engineers and some in agric, some in medical sciences. It's the same principle. So maybe if you are here, you are not in art, you are not in humanity, because somebody said, can we come if you are not in this? I said, yes, why not? It's the same principle. And if I may start with, I call it personality development strategy. Personality. Okay, it is you, personality. All right. From my experience, there's no way, or there's no way you can win any grants if you are not thinking about it. You are not building yourself around it. You are not, putting your heart around it. Won't work. And that is why personality, when I talk about personality, the first strategy to me is the mindset. The mindset, your mindset. Somebody said things are both spiritual before physical, right? In fact, if you don't win in your mind, you can't win in the physical. If your mind is not winning it, you find it difficult to win in the physical, even if you write good one, because it's a psychological idea too. So the mindset, and please, when it is time for me to stop, please just talk so that we stop. So many people do not believe they can win, even though they are writing. In their mind, there's that doubt in their mind that they cannot win, because they always believe they are inferior and that other people in their mind, even though their application is strong, they believe in their mind that they will pick other persons, and it happens. Okay, so you must conquer your mind, your mindset, your psychological, idea, and you talk to yourself that you can win. And I tell you, from my experience of writing and winning, that is the principle. But another foundation, because we have to call it about foundation. These are the strategies. Foundation, before you build, there must be foundation, solid one. Okay, and it's the mindset. Another foundation is poor background. We know that our system and curriculum in some part, let's be factual. Most of African countries, Nigeria inclusive, as you know, we are, I don't want to say some years apart from what the world is saying. We are some years apart from what the world is talking about now. So you must kind of rebirth. Yeah, the curriculum is there, you are teaching, you are doing, but if you don't kind of, Christian people call it born again. It must be academic born again, okay? So that one must be solid. If without getting that, sorry, you can't see the kingdom of grants winning. No, you can't enter that kingdom. There must be, and that one comes through training, okay? Attending this, I'm happy many of us are here, okay? That we are almost 70 plus now, okay? And that means we are eager. And this is the first thing. So I believe now, after this training, many of us here will win. That's my belief. Okay, if we're able to follow some of the principles we are going to raise. Another thing is this, some of us, this one is free, but there are those that will pay, you have to pay for. All the things about grants, we can't get it just in a day. So we must pay and be ready to pay and pay again to get ourselves back, because we are years behind. So be ready to pay. You may say, I don't have money. You will get money, you will pay, but you will harvest it abundantly. You may need to change your research focus. So I've not talking about the strategy of writing now, just because if yourself, you are not transformed, there's nothing you can do. You can be helped, a mentor can do, but if you are yourself, there's no mindset, mind change, it won't work. You have to be a shameless applicant. Shameless applicant. What did I mean? Let me give an example. ACLS, American Council of Learning Society, I started applying since 2009. And I got it in 2020. That's about 11 years apart. Okay, I guess maybe the person reviewing my papers, this guy has come again. Is he not ashamed? Back to sender. 11 years before I got it. Okay, I apply for, not every year, within these 11 years. But what I'm saying is that the person reviewing say, this boy should know that you can't be playing his trumpet. He doesn't belong to this place. But there's persistence because I know I can win. There must be critical reading, critical writing, critical thinking, okay, before, and this is just personality strategy. Maybe let me stop here so that just 2 points before I stop to adapt. You must be a psychologist, be able to read the mind of the givers. What are they looking for? What are they thinking? Okay, and there are ways you can imagine what they want actually, and you know that this one, I'm getting it. Okay, these are just my few words. We continue after for now, but I'll pause here.
Thank you so much, Dr. Titus, for that insightful opening to us. So, to Mr. Bola, so what are the strategies, to start with, engaging or, approaching? What are the processes that one needs to put in place to start thinking about grant or winning a grant? Let's put it that way. So, what do you think? Let's start from there.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you, because I do have a presentation, PowerPoint presentation. I wanted to know, like, at what point do you think, I mean, it's a bit long, so, because then I have, can I do that a bit later, or do you want?
I think the basic structure is for us to have this round. Then after this round, we can now go into separate presentations. We can call that's a 2-question in one, and that we can now open, So for now, let's just open it up, let's open the dialogue for now. Then for the second round, we can now go into focus presentations, bringing case studies here and there. Yeah, I know you guys are loaded, the titles you use, so we are looking forward to that. But for now, what are the basic preparations? What should people do when they want to start, or what are the process? Is it A before B? Is it B before C? Is it C before Y? So what is the process? Yeah.
All right. Okay, thank you so much for that question. Now, first of all, let me just acknowledge what my co-panelist, Dr. Titus, had said, that you have to have, that winning mentality. You have to believe that you can win it. But before you can believe that you can win it, you also need to you need to have done the work. You need to know what exactly grants are all about. And in my presentation, which I will share with you very soon, I looked at 3 things. The first one is the general, usually in the arts and humanities, grant layout, what we call grant proposal, and which is, I think, the most detailed, so that we'll go into a lot of details. And within that, we have that is relevant to the academia. And then we have, I suspect that we might have some students who are interested in writing statement of purpose, letters of intent to graduate school. Yeah. And I also view that as, some of the very first steps, to grant writing. I believe it's the same process. But to just share a few things, just to build on my co-panelists, that you have to believe that you can win it. But to believe that you can win it, you have to understand, like everything, there's a science, or there's at least an art behind it. So the first few things is that you must know yourself and your research very well as the institutions that you want to apply to. I think one of the most important thing is to find a good fit for your project. And to find a good fit for your project, it takes a lot of work, a lot of strategic work. a lot of research to be able to find people who are doing your work, those who are interested in what you're doing. Also, one of the ways to look at it is to look for if you intend to apply to an institution, you might want to find out, and there are ways to find out, at least in the US, who they have given grants before in the past. Now, if you look at the past awardees of this grant and you look at what they're doing, it might give you insights to what these institutions are interested in, for example. So there are a couple of ways to ensure that, I mean, there are no guarantees, but you want to make sure that you minimize the chances of failing. So you want to make sure that you understand what you're doing, that you can answer issues of, like, what is the problem? What is the research problem? Why is my research important? And, then you can understand the institution itself. What is this institution about? What does this institution fund? What are their mission and statements and values and so on and so forth? And then you want to look at, their activities in the past. What have they done? What is their focus? What do they fund? For instance, we know that, the Mellon Foundation, funds mostly the humanities and the arts. We know that the Bill Gates Foundation, not so much, for instance. So you want to make sure that you're, minimizing the chances of going stray. So those are some of, like, the first, strategies that I want to say. Of course, we cannot overemphasize the role of good writing. So I think it's important, but I think we'll talk about that in detail, in the full presentation.
Okay, thanks so much, Mr. B. Thank you. Well, I think a lot has been said. Thanks, Titus, for that foundational idea, which is about, if you don't believe it, you can't have it. And it is in believing it that pushes you, to that searching. Okay, looking for, like what I would call shopping exercise. First of all, you believe, okay, I can do this, I will win this, I'll win this. Then that's, that enacted that another process, another gear for you started looking for what. And I think, as Bola just explained, I think for me, the basic idea is, after believing the reality that, okay, I am in this and I'm going to win this grant by all means, then the question is, what do you want to do to win it? We should be able to outline at least three things to start with. I will explain the others later. The first thing is, you want to win a grant. It's like going for a World Cup. Grants are not baby's place. Grants winning, they are competition. Let's open it up. Let's see it. It's a competition. You are going. If, for instance, let's say Mellon Foundation, I'm quite familiar with Mellon because I've used Mellon the last 7 years or 8 years for almost everything I'm doing. So let's use Mellon Foundation, for instance. For one Mellon advert, for a 4 years research project, you are having up to 500 applicants for it. So it's like a World Cup. Then what do you do? And you are that person, you want to win it. To start with, also, the question is, it doesn't matter wherever you are. Let's forget about location right now. You can be somewhere in Ajegunle, you can be somewhere in Akure, you can be somewhere in Ogbomoso. That doesn't matter. In fact, you are the one they are looking for because of where you are. You have that potential, and that's why they are looking for you. It doesn't matter wherever you are. But what matters is, what are you going to do to win the competition? It's just like football. You want to go and play big opponents who are superstars. You need to start practicing. What do you practice? The first step is, for, like Bola explained, you need to sit down and do what we call personal reflexive process, personal conference. What do I need to do? What is my work? You want to read, you want to go shopping, take your basket and go, okay, What are you working on? Who are you? What kind of work are you doing? Are you a music personality? Are you a researcher? Are you a pianist? Are you an opera singer? Are you a music educator? And that's number one. Number two, what do you want to use this grant for? That's number two. Do you want to use it for an article writing? Do you want to use this grant for, do you need it for a fellowship to go to somewhere in Germany, in Frankfurt, in Bonn, or somewhere in the US to stay to work on a book project, or to stay to conceptualize an artistic production? Or for those outside of academia, do you need this fund to finance a community project? Like, for instance, I'm sure some of you have heard about most of these projects in Europe around people playing in public spaces, trying, using music to help people out of the slum. Do you want to create a kind of what we call public engagement project, like having children from Ajegunle, orchestra from there, producing a public opera at Oshodi or Bodija Market? Is this what you want to do? Or you want to establish a big studio that needs funding? So these are the second layers you need to ask yourself. Wherever your project falls, that is the second, we need to note that. Then the third one is, okay, I want to do A, B, or C. Then the question is, what is the kind of application that you need to make? You need to understand the type. The type of application for a scholarly project, which is also very broad, is different to the type of application for an artistic project. It's also different to the type of, let's say you want to have a community project. Then in the academic spaces also, the process for an article grant that will give you grant to write one article or a book is different to the one that will give you scholarship for 4 years or 5 years at Harvard or somewhere like Indiana University or somewhere like Bonn University. So these are the first layers of things you must have on paper and very, very clear, because as we are going to the next level now, the language for each of them is different. Yeah, if you're applying for a 4 years, like Bola explained, a 4 years degree program, in most cases in America it's 5 years because it's 2-in-1 package, master's to PhD. The language is different in your statement of purpose. You need to be very, 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 you need to be on point and be specific, detailed but specific. Then the language for, let's say, postdoc, short stay somewhere, each of them has their focus. They have given you like a kind of a template of what they are looking for. They've advertised, unlike the universities. For other projects, they have their own website. You go to their store and check, okay, what are they talking about? What do they want from those? So there are what they call formula. I think somebody mentioned formula. Bola mentioned formula. Yes, there's formula for grant application. Either in America, in the UK, there's one called DAD, very, very generous funding. And also the ones from Von Humboldt. I think Dr. Titus knows much, can even tell us more about Von Humboldt and the caucus or the cohorts in Europe. So each of them has template on their website. So we'll get to that. So the point here is this: 3 points. Understand who you are. Who are you? Where you stay doesn't matter. Understand the genre of application you want to do. You want to start up a studio, or you want to write for a book, or you want to go for a 3 years stay somewhere? So they have different languages. So I think I'm going to stop there now, so that can take us to the next round, which is quite where we can start, where we can then unpack the processes. Because the point here today is not just to talk about I have this and that, but also to show us, at least, if not in detail, the road into that process, particularly from the arts, social sciences, and humanities perspective, because it's different to the one to STEM. STEM has a different logic. They operate in a different way. I'll get to that shortly. So let's quickly move to Dr. Titus or Bola. Is there any addition before we move to the next one? Any short notes, here and there to wrap up before we move to the next one?
No, I don't have any.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, sorry. Just briefly, just to add to what you have said. Are you hearing me, please?
Definitely, I can hear you, sir, clearly.
Thank you. Yeah. Anyway, it's just maybe a recapitulation or recasting what you've said, because basically you ask your questions. You ask questions.
Yeah.
Like sometimes I ask myself, how much, for instance, 2024 is coming. I ask myself, how much do I need for research? In fact, I was writing my plans, my objectives, and I asked myself, how much do I want to earn from research? Earning now is different from, okay, this is the amount, this one is for this project, you have done the project, but apart from completing the project, how much do you want to earn? This
Like
mindset, it's not that you are money conscious. Only at the top, money in your mind. If money is not in your mind, money will not come. All right? And you don't need to be lonely at the top, actually. So the point is, I always have in my mind, how much do I need? When I got LSA, I'm a Carnegie, this thing. I know this is 20,000 US dollar. And at now it's 1,000 plus. You know what it means? That is about my salary for how many years? And they are not asking for receipts. So that, so that question, if you don't ask that question, you will get to a point like after now, I'm sure we're almost 90 now. The zeal will be there. But now it will go down because you didn't write, I want to win this one. So I will keep the tempo. Even though you are losing from 2009 and you're able to win it in 2020. That is the 11 years. Some applied twice and said, no, you're not going to think about rejection because you are aiming at it. So that is just the point I want to add.
Thank you so much, sir. Yeah, like you said earlier, rejection is part of the game. Yeah, it means you need to put some more point. Argentina won the last World Cup. Yeah, they've lose many World Cup. They've lose quarterfinal at different stages. They didn't give up. So if they gave up in the last two World Cup, they wouldn't have won. Particularly, they wouldn't have been able to get to where they got to last year. So that is the game. You won't give up. It's a process. It should be part of you. Thank you. So let's move to the next one quickly. While we are moving to the next one, again, for some of us who are just joining, this is the Organ House Concert and Seminar Series at the university, at Mountaintop University. This program is owned by Mountaintop University. We are at the Organ House, the music department. You can find us there anytime. Our links are shared. You can check the chat for our links. You can check our website. The department is always open. Come to us. We are waiting for you. Thank you. So the next question then is, as a follow-up on those ones, I think this is the real game for today right now. So then this is 2-in-1. And I'm going to also be very, very intentional about it to read it so softly and so consciously. So the first one is this: are writing skills and research agendas necessary in the funding/grant application process? That's the first question. I'm going to take that again. So the first one is, are writing skills and research agendas necessary in the funding/grant application process? That's the first one. Then the top one, and by extension, the other question is, what are the components of a winning funding/grant application? What are the components? What are the structure or the component, or we can call it, the component can mean anything depending on our panelists and presenters of the day. So what are the components of a winning funding/grant application? So the two together again, what are writing skills and research agendas necessary in the funding/grant application process. Then the next one is, what are the components of a winning/grant application? Yeah, so we are opening it now. Here we are going to have our panelists to take us into that process. What constitutes grant application? What is a winning grant application? What do they look like? What should we look for? What are the both nuts and logic of it, to use the title of my book? Let's go. Okay, thank you. Okay, so where do we start from? I'm always, open to. So where do we start from? And I'm always open to that. So where do we start from? Where do we start?
Let me allow Dr. Titus,
Okay, let's go. Dr. Titus, of course. Thank you so much. Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thanks for the generosity. Yeah, thank you so much, Dichia. Can I share my slides, please?
Yes, please. You can share your slide. Yeah.
Can you see it?
I think it's yes. Share.
Thank you very much. Yeah, thank you. So talking about effective writing skills, research agenda, and a successful fund grant application is the question is writing skills necessary? Actually, it is not just necessary, it is fundamental. Without it, there's no writing, because we are not selling tomato or cement in this place that you use your head. No. Neither are we selling atarudo, It is writing. You have to write. Either you type it or you write it. Critical thinking. So the writing skills must be there. And what do we mean by writing skills? What are the elements of writing skills? Like I mentioned earlier, we must have what we call critical thinking. But before you can gain critical thinking, there must be critical reading. You cannot write if you don't read. So if you see a grant, you just want to apply, it will be impossible to win such if you haven't read about it, study about it, read about it. Sometimes in applying for a grant, you may need to read about 10 books, 10 articles, okay, to situate yourself within those scholarships. So, because if you are writing something that someone has done before, they will just feel, what is this person doing? You must learn the arts. It's an art, and it's an act, okay? It's an aesthetics, the art and the act, the action of writing. Like I said, this is the first thing, coming to learn how to do, because it's very funny. It's not in our syllabus, both undergraduate and postgraduate. There's nothing like music 111, research funds for undergraduate. There's nothing like that. Even in medicine, or in computer science, there's no single course, either in general studies. And that means you have to sit down and learn the skill of writing. Now, what are those skills? What are those skills? The point is, okay, let's say this is a call, because I'm going to share some calls. I have about 4 to 5 calls that I have with me now, that I'm engaging, and other people are also engaging. So we are going to do practical work on, and then how do you apply for this kind of thing? There's one here on my slides. But the point is, do you understand the language of writing? Because some of us, we write journalistically, kind of journalistic. There's kind of research language. There is journalistic language. Yeah, there are scholarships for journalists. They will tell you this one is for journalists, not for academia, not for research per se. I mean, journalistic writing is also a science, the kind of research, but in academia, in an academic research. So you must be able to write. Okay, but in application, in applying for grants, your stories are not, they are not enough. There must be references, there must be authorities that you will situate your work within authorities. So this writing, reading and writing, and be able to systematically pattern it, it must be critical. And that's why I asked Santa for a research grant. He said, do you still believe in research? Because this person has, Santa has not really learned and grabbed the writing skills. He just had that this person is winning, so he wants to win. No, there must be sitting down, there must be learning, there must be continuous writing and improving. Writing journalistically, somebody said, what does it take to write an abstract? Somebody said, it took me almost 2-3 days. Somebody, I can do that in 5 seconds. Anyway, depending on what you are writing, depending on what you are applying for, depending on what you have been doing before now. So let me say, I want you to also meet Dr. Pelumi, Professor Pelumi. Is organizing a panel on Nasake. So please meet him on Facebook and contribute to that. Professor, I'm not advertising for you, but you pay me, okay? Academipreneur. Now, money on my mind, but not only at the top. You understand? Like I said, if you cannot see the money, it has to pass through, the money in your mind. Because if you are seeing only your salary at the end of the month, you will not think about research. Because, I'm a senior lecturer, my salary 250, I'll give 50,000. You will not see research. You will not bother about research. You wonder, why are we troubling yourself? Like somebody told me, what is it? I'll just get my promotion and then I'll be promoted, I'll get, and say, oh, that's good, that's beautiful. All right. But if you desire to be feasible, then you must learn this writing skill. And it doesn't come just like that. Research agenda. What is research agenda? Some of our presidents, we have what they call agenda, something agenda this, 7-point agenda. We have global research agenda currently ongoing. And the truth is, if your research is outside this agenda, sometimes it's very difficult for you to win grants. Okay? If your agenda is different from the global agenda or what the area you are applying to, you might find it difficult to win. There are key issues in humanities and social sciences and also in sciences. Okay? They have their agenda. There's something they want you to do. There's something they have in mind. And when you're able to get the agenda, but when you don't even know the agenda, which is part of writing skill, you read to know the agenda of the course. What exactly are they saying? What do they want from me? What do they want me to do? All right? When you get the agenda and then you look at your own agenda, then it has to tally, pari passu, it has to move pari passu. So, and there's a global agenda, like I said, especially sustainable development goals, what I call invisibilization, global invisibilization and knowledge economy market. This our research is a market. It's a kind of going to Lagos market, Dubai, Oshodi market. There are some things you must bring to the table before you can sell. There must be some things you must bring for you to sell. All right. So, knowledge economy. That is where we are. We are in the market, and people you want them to buy your. These people are here with money. They have, and you have idea. They will look at the best idea, and that is why you must prepare yourself through the writing skills. Okay, in bringing your knowledge economy to the market and be able to sell. And there are we are going to share these slides after so that you can have access to some of these things. Connecting to global debate, SGD. Most of the research, things in the world now will be fixed to this 17, debate. All right. In musicology, let me use an example of musicology. Sometimes we have some courses that are really dealing with theory, with that's not related to society. It's going to be very difficult to write proposal. For instance, you are looking at tonal counterpoint. The title of the tonal counterpoint in Nigeria. Who cares about tonal counterpoint? It's very good. It's very important in analyzing societal issues. But tonal counterpoint on its own is very rare to see someone who will sponsor such agenda. Because if you don't do counterpoint, who is at loss? But people are hungry. You want to talk about hunger. You want to talk about economics and zero hunger. Your area is philosophy. You want to talk about good health and philosophy. Good quality education. You are maybe the faculty of education. All right. Decent work and economic growth. You are in administration and social sciences. How do you connect your work to these problems? Okay. Because if you don't see problem, you can't win grants. There must be, there must be problems. You must see problem rather before you can win. Now, just a minute. Writing and winning grant proposal multidisciplinary. Today, the world is talking about multidisciplinary. Some people, they just want to say, no, I'm in economics and I stay in economics. All right. That's why somebody, personally, I ask myself, what am I looking for in oil and gas? How is music related to oil and gas? And, and that's what I'm writing. Actually, I'm writing a book here. And the title is related to oil and gas. But I study music. So the world is looking for multidisciplinary approach. Look at life science, earth science. That's why we coined the word ecomusicology, ecology and musicology. So you must be able to think within, beyond your disciplinary boundaries. The world has gone beyond just you saying, this is what it is. No. The world has gone beyond that. Even though you are still staying within your boundary, but you now move out to look at what they are doing and bring it to your, to your research focus. So writing skill, you must be able to develop yourself in writing a kind of multidisciplinary work. That is the selling point in the current age. And like I said, can you see any challenge or problem in around you? Can you see the fire? Can you see, look at generator? And but the first thing is, but it is government. And I told some people, I said, think as if there's no government. Because if your thinking is still government supposed to do, state government supposed to do, local government supposed to do, federal government, you are not going to do anything. They're supposed to increase their salary, yes. Why before they increase it, what are you doing to increase your own, your finance? But there are problems. For 3 days now in some part of Nigeria, there's no light. What can you do people will pay you when you're able to generate light. You're able to bring something that will make people to have light. They are ready to pay. Okay? We're talking about security. These are issues. What can you do about feeding? People may not change clothes. Even if they are fasting for a week, they will break and they must eat. Can you do anything about food and feeding? Can you do anything about food security? You can even talk about music and food security. There are several grant applications on food, and you can bring, like one of my proposals that I got a casting fellowship. I'm to talk about honeybee. I have to look at chants that talk about honey in Niger Delta, and I got the grant. So you must think, critical thinking. And sometimes when you see some of the problem with us is when you see a course, no, it's not in my area. It's talking about feeding, about social sciences. It's not in humanities. No, that is why I said you need critical thinking. Because when I see, they say write about honeybee, normally as a musicologist, I know when you talk about singing, then you call me in. No, I wrote about honeybee and I won. All right. And that is what we can do. That is why, but like I said, critical thinking will lead to critical writing. The skill of writing is through reading. You know, sometimes I send my paper to someone and say, read this thing and summarize. If you don't read materials, you don't know the gap in knowledge. And you can't even see problems, even though even yourself, you know you are feeling the problems. But how do you write it? How do you package it? There must be, you know, look at plastic waste. These are problems. And all this must be situated within the writing skills. All right. Now, just to tantalize you, by the grace of God, through this music, because we have to revolutionize musical scholarship. Through music now, I've won about 6 research grants from Nagel, from Minnesota University, and other bodies. I've won 6 different research grants. I've won over 30 travel grants. You know, even last week, I was in Zambia, fully funded, and Vienna, fully funded, and other places. I mean, and these are some of the grants I've won through musicology. Alexandra, I want to just let you know that it's a possibility, no matter your course, even though you study broominology, study of brooming, or study of sweeping, okay? The process of sweeping, okay? You can win grants. I know my time is fast moving. You have Prosper Andrew Mellon, I got it. Casting, I got it. Charter City, I got it. American Council of Learned Society, I got it. AFOX and Oxford University, I got it. UNESCO, I got it. Rhodes, I got. Even now, my publication, you know, from now to 2025, any international publication that I send to Rhodes, I will be paid. That's another thing I want to talk about later. That is why I find it difficult to publish in Nigeria, because when I publish outside, they pay me. So the issue of bring your paper and for free. In fact, these days I don't want free paper. Don't publish for me free. Will you pay me? There's a month I applied this 2024. I want to get also amount through publication, and it's a possibility. You understand? I know how much I got this year alone through publication. And when you go online, check my name, you'll see some of the publications. I still used it for my promotion, but I got paid for some of them. Yeah, some of them, yeah, it's like international, it's just for feasibility. But some of them, I got paid. And also Leventis and then the Institute and Rhodes and all the rest. You can win. You can win. These are some of the logos. And like I said, the writing skills is critical to winning these things. And when you win, you feel happy because you become a global figure. You become global figure. Let me know when my time is on. Just to introduce you to this, because what we are doing today is just 1% of how to win. And I'm inviting you, anyway, sorry, the moderator, this is part of my presentation, you know. Capacity building for wealth creation in 2024. That is critical thinking. I'm thinking critical. I'm thinking for you. Most of you are about 99 on this platform. You understand? I needed just 30 of you to register, 50,000 only. So some of us we are abroad, 50 US dollar. Capacity building. This one I will take you one-on-one because the one we are doing now is good. All right. Professor Ayo, sorry for announcing this one. You know, it's part of my presentation.
It is no problem.
Thank
It's
you.
just that we need to now. You need to just so we can move on to the next. It's fine,
So
right?
please,
Yeah. Thanks so much. Yeah.
I will post it here. You register for it. If you don't register for it, you are not ready to win. You understand? Component of a winning proposal. This is where we are going. We have the title. Your title must be sexy. There's no your title. You can't bring title like the number of angels in heaven. That one is rubbish. Nobody cares about angels in heaven. The types of voices of angels, you know, or the gods, the oceanic, the gods in the ocean. How does their voice sound? You know, my research is above that. Nobody cares about that. The executive summary, introduction, statement of research problem, then the objective, the research questions. We know all these things, but these are the things needed: methodology, data gathering, and then theory, your literature. Under this literature, I wrote a proposal at the time. I gave it to one of the mentors, and that is why mentor is very important. I said, no, remove this literature, put this one. And I got it. If I use that literature, I wouldn't have got it, but I want it. Then contribution to the society. What is the contribution to economy, technology? Like, for instance, I'm advertising wealth creation. I'm contributing to your wealth. Okay, key references in the field. Referee letter. Your research proposal is as important as your referee letter. Most of our referee letters from Nigeria is like, it's very good, it's moral, is this. That is, someone called me and said, look, you lost a grant because of referee letter. They have to call the person that, tell another person to, because from your referee letter, we cannot give you this grant. Your proposal is very fine, but your referee letter is very weak, and we cannot award you this grant because your referee letter is too poor. Because what they wrote there is, you are very moral, you are very good, I taught him. No, that's not that motivational letter. Contacting host, your CV. Your CV is not how many number of children. No. How many number of this? No, that's not what you're. This is there's a call here, and I will have, maybe I'm sure we'll still go back to it. This is a practical one I want us to work on maybe after my colleague have presented. This is a call. It's ending January 2024. It's taking place in China, and it's going to be fully sponsored. So I brought it here for you to look at it. We will apply. And if you win, they will sponsor you, fully sponsored. Okay? And once again, I want to say thank you as you register for this capacity building for wealth creation.
Thank you so much, Dr. Titus. Of course, if this doesn't happen, then it means you haven't appeared yet. Thank you so much.
Let me unshare. Right?
Okay, just stop sharing here, then we can, yeah. Thank you. Thank you so much. Of course, I was expecting this, and that makes you, and it means you are in the room, you are with us, yeah, of course, and we appreciate that. Thank you so much. This is quite loaded. Definitely, I will definitely have some question and other things to add. So let's just move to our next presenter, yeah, quickly. Then we'll do the unpacking together. Then we can open it up for questioning and answer. Friends, please wait, take your time. We have a lot to gain today. Once again, this is Mountaintop University. Thank you. Okay, let's move to Bola, Mr. Bola.
Can I share my slides?
Definitely.
All right. All right. Just to confirm, are you able to see my slides?
Yes.
All right. Thank you so much. Yeah. So, like I suspected that my co-panelist.
Sorry, Bola, sorry. Do you want to put it in sharing mode? I'm not sure. Or slideshow. Yeah, slideshow. Just to.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Just the full slideshow, when you share, just put in the full slideshow so we can see everything fully.
Okay, all right. Was it okay? Just 1 second. All right.
Okay, just share then I will show you past. I know, yeah. Just share it again, then we can quickly move.
Oh, was it showing presenter view?
No, it's not showing. It's just showing the normal slide as if you're not. Share it, then I will show you then. Just share it.
All right.
It's a thing to really worry about. Yeah.
All right. Okay. So, all right, I'm sharing it now.
Yeah. Good. Okay, go to the yes. That's it. Do it.
Is it fine now?
Use your slideshow on the upper left, or is it left or right? Just do slideshow. Just click use slideshow. It will give us the full package.
All right.
You know, sometimes some of us who use this machine called Apple or Mac, it has its own ways of thinking. So yeah, don't stop sharing. Just put it there. We can see it. So
You
what
can see it now.
Yeah, just use slideshow.
All right, great. Is this fine now?
Yes, that's it. We're there. Yeah,
Oh,
thank you. Yes,
all right,
thank
great. Yeah. So I mean, I suspected that my co-panelists would, go into the nitty-gritties of, how to do it, supplying like very locally related hands-on approach. So I prepared something that is really broad, that just gives you like general insights into grant writing on a very broad spectrum. And I've prepared this presentation in three three parts. The first one looks at grant writing, the general overview of grant writing, and what does it take to write a grant. And I focused on not-for-profit grants. And I focused on not-for-profit grant because it is, I think, the most comprehensive way to think about grants.
Yeah.
And afterwards, I'm going to look at, specifically for humanities and social sciences, which is also relevant, for academic-related grants. And then I'm going to look at the graduate school applications, your statement of purpose, for student applications, which I consider one of the baby steps into writing grants. All right. So just, to remember that when you're writing grants, there are a couple of things, overarching things to always remember. And number one is that you're trying to find your best fit, an organization that aligns with your goals and objectives, or you align with the organization's goals and objectives. But at the end of the day, you're trying to find that connection between you and an organization. Secondly, is emphasize storytelling in your grant. Grant is like telling stories. Stories are very powerful. They are important. While you might have all the facts and figures and everything, it's important to emphasize, to say everything in the story, from who you are, which usually would be what you call the heroes of your organization, which can be you or a founder or whoever, into the beneficiaries, for instance, of that grant. And then you go on to and do other things. Please just note that my perspective is really based on the context of grant writing and applying for grants in the US. So you can always adapt that in many other situations. I think it is all right. So what is a grant? Basically, usually grants, they're organizations that are that are basically grant making organizations, or they give grants, and usually grants are for specific reasons. They give you grants to do something in particular, usually within a period of time. And so you want to ensure that you understand, what grants are, and that they usually very specific. They have guidelines which are usually spelled out by the organizations. And so it's very important. That's why, I'll be making references to writing, which is that you must also read properly and make sure that you understand the guidelines, because that might be crucial to you winning the grant. Now, when it comes to the grant writing process, and this is really the broadest form of grant writing, which is usually part of, the fundraising strategy of big organizations. And part of the, fundraising aspect of organization, they usually have the department, where people write grants. And in a grant, they're like on the process of writing grants, you have like 5 stages. And I would also, even though I'm giving a very comprehensive approach to writing grants, it's also applicable, and I'll share how it's applicable to academic writing, but this is, some of the most comprehensive way. Now, you have what you call your case resource file. And your case resource file, I'll just list them. Your case resource file, you have your project design with budget, you have your prospect research, you have your letter of intent and inquiry, and then you have your final grant proposal. Now, the case resource file. In the case resource file, this is where you have your mission statement. So this is the first step in, grant writing. You want to have your mission statement of your organization, or if it's academic research, what exactly is this? Is it a group research? Is it individual? Is it a small not-for-profit? Is it a big not-for-profit? You have to set out your mission. Then the second in your case resource file are your goals. What are the goals of this, project, this research, etc.? Goals are usually very broad, non-specific, statements that you make about, what you want to achieve. And then your objectives are usually the more specific ones. So for instance, you say, we want to raise, X amount of dollars for this, cause. And then your objectives are, really very specific in terms of, we want to raise $5,000 every 5 months, every 6 months, and so on and so forth. Then you have your programs and services. And for your programs and services, that's what you have to offer. So in an arts organization or any other form of organization. So this is really very broad. It applies across the board, whatever organization. So your programs and services are what do you offer? So are you a performing arts organization? Are you if you're doing research, what are you researching? That's going to be your programs and services. Are you into museums? Whatever you're doing. And then you want to in this case put your finances out there. Usually grant writers, at least for arts organizations, they want you to have diverse fundings. They don't want you to rely on them alone. They want to see, maybe you have track record of, getting funds, which is very important. If you're an arts organization, they want to see your governance structure, who's in your board, who are your management, and if it's academic research, who are your collaborators, who are you working with, who are the people, and so on and so forth. Then you have your staffing, you have your service delivery, you have your planning and evaluation, the history of your organization, you want to have it there, and then you want to have your case statement. So case statement is very short, which tells us exactly, this is what we want to do. This is who we are, this is our mission, this is what we want to do. Very short. And then I go to the next one, your program design. So the program design basically consists of the following, which I've listed, which is, usually your name, your case for support. Now, your case for support is very important. That is, why should they support you? Why must these I think I also have to, step back and just mention this. Throughout my my research and some of the things that I've worked with some organizations in terms of developing a research or writing grants for them, I realized a few things. First is that there are organizations that have big checks. In other words, they have a lot. Until I was doing my research, there are organizations all around the world. Their job is to give out money. And yes, it is competitive, but yes, there are also many organizations out there who are just looking for people who have good ideas to give this money to. And I realized that there are many folks in Nigeria who are get, because there's a database which I'm privileged to, that I have access to, which tells me, gives the information of who the grants are going to. So there are many organizations in Nigeria, but most of them go somewhere else, mostly to South Africa. And I think that's because of, granting research skills and, grant writing skills. So now, when it comes to your need and case for support, I was saying that because of the case for support, is that you have to be able to tell your grant organization why they need to support your work. And that cuts across the board. Why you? Why not somebody else? Then you go into your program description. And this is different. I have to stress that this is different from your overall mission and vision statement. This is the specific program. So let's say that you are an academic department and you have, 4 or 5 areas of studies. You have the musicology, the performance, the music theory, and so on and so forth. Those will be different programs in your overall, the services that you offer. So let's say you wanted to fund the ethnomusicology department. So that would be the program for which you'll be designing this program design. Basically, this program design will be based on one of the programs that you're actually applying for funding. So then we go to program objectives. You look at the methods, the staffing, if you have collaborations, which is always encouraged, especially in the US here. Evaluation plans, sustainability plans are very crucial, especially in the US, because they want to see, is your program, is it short-lived, or does it go beyond this initial program? So they look at that, and of course, you want to have your budget for the specific program, not your overall institutional program. Then you have your prospect research, which is very, very important, because the first 2 aspects we talked about yourself, whether individual, whether you're in groups, or whether it's an organization. So we looked at you as, an entity, as an organization. Now, in the prospects research, you're trying to look at the organization itself, and you want to be very, very, strategic. And I've done this myself, and I found this to be, perhaps, besides working on yourself, this is perhaps one of the most important aspects, because what you're trying to do is to pair yourself with the organization. You've done your own analysis, your program, your mission statements, your goals, you have everything, your budget. You're now trying to look for an organization that meets up with your, and of course, there's room for tuning. You can always adjust. But now here, for your prospect research, you want to look at what is the grant maker name? And that could be, from Mellon to Ford to whoever. There's so many. I have to tell you that there are so many organizations I mean, especially in the US, which I do have access to, and I do a lot of research, that they're just willing to give away money. I never understood, that there were so many like that. So just to let you know, so you want to look at their name, their web link, their email address. You want to look at their foundation budget. I mean, everybody doesn't have access to it, but I have access to some resources which they're restricted. In other words, I cannot share with you, where you can go to organizations and find out what is their budget. You know exactly how much they have in their endowment, how much they have to give, and then how much they actually give on a yearly basis. Now you want to look at the foundation mission. This is like the nitty-gritties of, and it applies across board, not-for-profit, humanities, social sciences, individual, even beyond the arts. You want to look at the foundation mission. And for instance, we know that Mellon Foundation funds the humanities and social sciences, so that already you're limiting, you're limiting, any possibilities of being outside of the area that you want to be. So there's some foundations, they don't support the arts, or maybe a very meager percentage of their budget, is in the arts. So then I continue, the geographical funding area. This is important. There are organizations that don't fund certain areas. You have to find out. There's some organizations that are just regional. They fund maybe in the US or in North America, because you don't want to waste your time. So they just fund in a certain area. And like I said, I have resources where I can go and check, who do they fund? There's some organizations, they're in Europe or in America, but they only fund Africa. So once you begin to limit that by looking at their budget, you see their foundation mission, it aligns with what you're doing. You look at their funding area, geographic funding area, you are already limiting everything. These are ways, very practical ways of limiting or reducing failure in your application. Then the next thing is areas of interest. Usually these organizations would state what they're interested in funding if you go and do your deep research. And so you can check if what you're doing is aligned to what they're interested in. And that is a way to get rid of that. The next one is the types of support that they give. For instance, some organizations, some organizations will give you just support to run your organization. Some want to fund a particular program, so you have to look at that. Then you want to look at their financial data. In fact, are these organizations, are they going to keep giving money in the next couple of years? You want to find out the background information, who are their, who's their, their CEO, who is, and so on and so forth, who is their founder. Then you want to look at their funding cycle. This is very important. When do they fund? How long do they fund? How do you apply, and so on and so forth. Then you want to look at the foundation history. And most importantly, you want to look at the past awardees. Who are they giving money to in the past? That is important, because if you go there and you find people that they're giving money to and they don't look like you, or they don't have the kind of research that you're doing, probably they're not going to fund you. So that's good. Now, do we move on to the letter of inquiry and letter of intent, which you call LOIs? These letters, because for a lot of organizations, you also want to make sure that you reach out to them first and make sure that, and with your LOI, you're telling them important stuff, who you are, your missions, and quickly just to introduce yourself to them. And so that they can tell you if then they will usually invite you, to now actually apply. So you don't just want to apply on all the time. Sometimes you want to reach out and send a letter of intent. In other words, so the first one is a letter of inquiry. You're trying to inquire if, you know, they first of all are accepting applications, if your, you know, research falls in, or if they're interested. Then the letter of intent is actually to write a letter to say, I want to apply. And then they can tell you, okay, yes, you can apply. And so that's very important, you know, letters. And when it's only usually after this letter that you actually apply for grants. So when the organizations tell you, give you go ahead, that now you can apply for this research, then you now send in your final grant proposal. And, you know, usually they have the application places where you can submit these things to, go and read it. They have instructions, and you want to make sure that all the things that you have done in your case profile, prospect research, and everything else up to this point, you feed it into your grant proposal, telling them exactly what you want. So this is basically, I'm just going to quickly run through the rest and looking at academic grant writing briefly, and writing a statement of purposes based on this very broad idea of grant writing. And I think everything fits in. So I'm just going to go quickly to, when it comes to academic writing, most of the things I discussed fits in, but you just want to make sure that you have your short overview, which is kind of your statement, your mission statement. I've mentioned this earlier. Then you have to examine the need or the problem. What is your research problem? What is your what is your cause? So that's what I talked about. Why this research? Why this research? Why now? Who does it benefit? What is the end goal of this? Then of course, the description of your project. You want to have a budget and a timeline. I've discussed everything in the bigger project, but this is more specific. And I'll just go through statement of purpose. I like this because I recently wrote a few when I was applying for grad school. I know that there are some students here who would need it. And for this one, there are few questions you have to ask yourself. This is very important. This is no joke. One is, why are you interested in grad school? Why do you want to go for school? Maybe not grad school, maybe even undergrad. Why do you want to go for grad school? Why are you interested in this field? And, how have you prepared yourself academically and professionally for a career in this field? And, what will you contribute to the program? What are you going to bring with you? What do you do? What do you have going on for you? And of course, the next question is, what are your future career goals, and how will the program or the school help you achieve them? These are very important questions you have to ask yourself, and it always links to the school. I've spoken about this, the need for research, the prospect research. This is prospect research. You're trying to look at that. And then I'm going to quickly go through make sure you set aside time. This is a lot of research. You're looking at yourself, you're looking at the organization, you're looking at your project, and you're having this, this ongoing engagement. You want to research your school and your programs thoroughly. I've talked about it, and this is a prospect research. The organization you're applying to, in this case, it is your school. For academics, it is the grant writer, who's granted this. And then you want to brainstorm and look at how you fit into the school and program. In fact, in this case, I have to add how you fit into the city or the state. That sometimes you're not a good fit for the state in which the university is, for whatever reason. So that will impact your general happiness, and it will translate to how effective you are, whether you're on a sabbatical or you are a student applying to school, or you're a visiting scholar. You have to also look at the environment, the state, the place, and everything, whether your research fits in. And then the fourth one is, you have to contact any potential mentors. This is important. This is the same thing as a letter of inquiry. You have to contact them and talk to them, somebody that you think you might work with, that their work aligns with your work, or that you think you will learn from them. Also read their work earlier. So there's a lot of writing and research all embedded in this, even though I'm not explicitly talking about it. Make a list of the requirements of your, for your statement of purpose, and get your materials ready before you write. And I think finally, I just want to close this presentation by saying that I think one of the most important things about grant writing that I've learned from writing grants, from studying it, from taking courses, is that you are telling a story. And that it is important that you captivate your audience, your readers, the prospective, organizations that you are going to apply to, by telling all these things we've spoken about that are, like very scientific, very detailed, to put it in form of a story. Let your mission and statement, let it be aligned with your goals and objective. Let it be aligned with your programming or your research. Let it be aligned with your budget. Let your budget tell a story. Let it tell a financial story of your program, and so on and so forth. So I cannot stress the importance of storytelling. One of the things that it does is that it does not burden the reader with all sorts of information. Even though it's in the form of story that tells what you want to do, it is still, compact, and it has all the details. So I think I would just end my presentation here. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Bola. This is so, insightful. Yeah, thanks so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you so much. I really enjoy this. And again, it complements, more like extends on what Dr. Titus explained earlier. So at this point, in the next 5 minutes, like I said earlier, mine is wearing two caps today, one fully, then the others barely, on one side. So that one side, I also want to ship in something, which is a writing code. What are like grant writing is like I said earlier, it's like a World Cup. To win a grant, it's like a World Cup. I remember clearly when I won Mellon Foundation grant. This is 2017. Yeah. So when I actually started doing the work, I met the person that actually adjudicated the process. We were 500 across the world that applied for that work, and they only chose 4. So I was number 2 on the list. So I met him and I asked him, why did you choose me? Yeah, I did that same interview somewhere in this same building. The interview for that application, somewhere in this same building in 2017, yeah. So the point he told me is this. He said, look, you were so explicit on what we are looking for. Your first paragraph, it's the point. What is a paragraph? What we call putting your foot in the door, what Mr. Bola called storytelling. What is your story? What is your story? Grant writing is not academic writing per se. It is you telling yourself, competing for something. You are arguing for something, but you are also not arguing. You are not aggressive. You are sweet. You use the right word. You are intentional about every word you are using. Let's share the slide. Let's share that in for once. So I'm not sharing a slide. I'm just sharing a 3-page document from a recent application. Not mine, from someone, but this is from Harvard. This is an Harvard application that got attention. So I have done a quite editing, so you won't see what and what and what. But I want to show you what we call the grandfather's template. This is a template that has been around for in the last, let's say, 30 years. professors across the world has used this template and has passed it around across. So hence I appreciate Dr. Titus for passing the message around. One thing about grant is this: there is a generation. For every successful grant application that you have seen in the last 10 years, that person is not the owner of that application. It is an heritage from a particular school of thought passed down, just like knowledge. The same way you produce your student. So that's how grant works. So I encountered this also in my own lineage of professors who have used this same template in the last 40 years. None of them has ever lost a grant from this template. Today, I'm not going to give you the full templates. I'm so sorry about that. But Mountaintop University is now open for you. You can come here to learn how to write alone. We have programs, diplomas, certificate program, both in music, and we also have graduate programs. We have master's program, very, very rich program, where you are also going to learn how to write, particularly crucial writing culture like this. But I will get back to that. Let me start with this. So what is the grandfather's template? The template is quite unconventional. It is not conventional template. The first thing you want to do in the grandfather's template is what Bolas called the general overview / your argument. So you need to quickly hit the point. Look, when you apply for grant, there are 3 layers of education, of examination. The first layer is so messy. Those who are going to read your paper are the secretaries, not the people. So the secretaries, they have been given format, templates, just 2 lines. This and this, if it's not there, throw it in the basket. So they have 2 baskets, one in the right hand, second in the other hand. The first one, the moment they read your first line, the first paragraph is not there, you are going either way. So that's the first level. The second layer is the secretary will pass it to admin representative, which will also streamline before getting to the real educators. From the educators, it will now go to the funder. At the time it gets to the funder, you are already in. They've read your work. They've gotten comments. You have been recommended. So at that level, you are 90% close to that work. And if you are lucky enough, if they like your idea, because they are the owner of the money, you will get it. So let's quickly run to the let's run with the grandfather's template. Okay, so the first one is what we call your foot in the door. This is the first thing they want to see about you, and it's going to create a lasting impression and give them a vivid picture of who you are and why they should consider you. So let's see. Now, the study of dash, 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 and dash in Africa has come to the fore in recent years, especially with the development in S and dash, and like dash. The question, however, or the question of how S and S, mostly at S, you see, however, remains contested. What are you doing in this first 2 lines? In this first 2 lines, what you are doing is to poke them. You want to tell them that you are introducing your field, your person, and how smart you are to grab everything you want to talk about in the 13 pages grant proposal or whatever funding you're applying for. You are putting them and making your argument in the first 2 lines. The first line is about introduction, the study, the project. This can be for anything. The project, the documentation of this and this and this has been done in somewhere. And it has gotten a kind of attention. It's popular. It is not new. I am not the first one doing this project. Particularly recent development like in technology and like dash and dash. You have introduced the entire field to them with just 1 sentence. The second sentence now is where you are coming in. The question of how, which is your own point of, your own concern, your own business, how and mostly at dash dash. However, remains contested. That is where you are inserting yourself in the narrative. Then the next one is, you also don't want to tell them that you are the only one who understands this or who can do this. Then the next one, you want to acknowledge, like what Dr. Titus and Bola just said about literature review. Who and who are you in conversation with? Which field are you writing from? So this is where that comes in. So some scholars of African culture, politics, it could be different thing for you. It could be from composition, it could be from it could be a business, it could be whatever, but you need to name who they are. Scholars of business of what, cultures of what, and economy have argued, or they have seen, they have explained that this project is this and this and this and this and this, and you must cite them. Let them see who has said that. This shows that you understand what you want to do. You have a foundation, you have a background, you know what you want to do, and you have read, like Bola and Titus explained, you have read so widely that you can solve a problem. Then following that, an addition, being more scholarship on African scholars, scholarship on African, scholarship on African, that's a mistake anyway. African scholars of dash has noted that S and S often equals S, and you must put their name also. So the first one is a bigger field that you are inserting. It could be 4 or 5 field. The second one, you are narrowing it down to your immediate field. You see, and you must put their name, who have said that. It could be up to 10. Nobody cares about that, depending on your page. Then the next one is you now. You have explained the field. You have explained the immediate people you are talking with, the community. It could be African music, African studies, it could be business, it could be computer, whatever. Then the next one is your ultimate foot in the door, which is to date. However, little work has thoroughly examined, studied, does, how dash and dash have done, how dash have dash are created. Have created S, that is the outcome in many African societies. This is taking us back to Dr. Titus. The effect of your work in society, we can never rule it out. If it's not rooted in society, they won't listen to you. People have money, yes, but they want to give the money to those who can put it back to society, who can mediate process, who can mediate development, who can create new content, who can facilitate change in the society. And that's why you must be very, very personal. You must be very, very motivated, but not aggressive. Again, to date. However, this is you now. You are putting yourself in that big narrative. Little work has thoroughly examined how dash dash have done or created dash dash. That is consequence, outcome and consequence, effect, the effect of what you want to do. You have taken them in many African societies. Then what is the consequence of what has not been done? As a result, scholarship, people endorse this narrative that mostly characterizes S and S in their societies or non-existent. As a result, this has not been done. You are now pushing them to your work. Then the next one, which is the motivation for you, without adequate focus of X, that is where you are coming in. We undervalue their contributions to X and S in contemporary Africa, ultimately leading to a one-sided conceptualization, understanding, publication, execution of S in Africa. This is your foot in the door. According to that template, I'm coming, just wait, I'm coming. So what does this do for you? It's simply telling them that you are smart enough to condense everything about the proposal. It could be 10, 4, 24 pages in one paragraph and show them what we call overview and see it's your point. Even, in fact, without this, many people will not read further. Oh, this is great. We need to read further. They'll put it in the positive basket. That is, you have qualified for the first or second round. Then the next one is now, where after you have made a huge argument in the first paragraph, the second paragraph is when you want to be specific and take ownership and insert yourself finally. Yeah, my project S and S and S remedies this gap by analyzing how S and S have done, contributed, make, produce, whatever it is, S and S that shape those X, S, and S in many African countries. So here you are telling them that, yes, this thing has not been done in the first paragraph, and you are putting everything there. But in the second paragraph, you want to tell them how your project is mediating that long distance problem. Then you now state why you are there. Why are you knocking the door? Why are you making all this noise? Why are you being aggressive? Why are you doing all this? I am applying to SSS grant, scholarship, sponsorship to do SSS in S and S. This is the point. So following this, then you can give them, like Bola and Dr. Titus explained, you take them into what that is, what you want to do, a detailed yet succinct background of what you want to do. You explain in detail what is the context. Then you also tell them about the method, what will your project achieve or contribute to existing works, like those you mentioned that have not done it. The point here is that you are not ruling the existing work off. Instead, you are complementing the existing work. Please. Then the next one is literature review, of course. Who are you in conversation with? Like Bola and Titus explained, you must know the people you are talking to. That's where your research must be focused. Then again, you are after the longer discourse about this, I've done this, whatever. Then you are coming to scholars to date have not attended, also seeing where you fit in that narrative. How does your work expand all the literatures you have read? So scholars to date, for instance, have not attended to the impact of dash in Africa. This SS, however, needs to be explored, whatever. So your work then will fill that gap in Africa. That is compelling. Then the next one is tell us about your literature, your theory, your method. For these ones, we can't do it. I'm not sure we can do it here. Come to MTU. I'm inviting you specifically and specially. Come to MTU and let's do this together. Then the second one, timeline. In most cases, they ask for budget. They ask for budget, then we have your conclusion. So the point is that it's just more like a quick overview of what matters. The point, we have courses here on writing, or join this conversation on a weekly basis. We are dealing with these matters. Also, join our social media pages. So quickly, let's go back. Let's open the floor for questions and answers. We have people who are willing to, who have questions, who want to discuss issues. So the point is this, we are gradually running out of time. Whoever is asking questions, please make it very, very brief. Tell us your name. My name is so. What is this, please? We have more than, we have a lot of people here, so let's make it brief. Thank you so much. So where do we start? Questions, you can raise your hand. Okay, we have, let's start with Benga Falano, please. Quickly. Benga Falano.
Okay, can you hear me, please? Good afternoon, everyone.
Definitely.
Okay, thank you so much for organizing this session. My question, and I want to appreciate all the speakers, Mr. Bola and Dr. Titus. My question is based on fellowship specifically. I noticed that most call for fellowships and some high-ranking research grants and the likes are made available for PhD students or postdocs and the likes, and we have little, focus on masters. So I don't know if any of our resource persons have something to say about that, or information for master students specifically on that. So that's my question.
Okay. I think let's take 3 more, then we can address at least 5 or 3 together at a time. Then let's say what's again? Okay. Okay, you have to order Victor Adim. Can we have Victor Adim? Then we can take Pelumi also after that.
Good evening. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, please.
Good evening. Thank you, the organizers, for this well-packaged and very enriching sessions. My question is, the grandfather's template you gave us, does it apply to abstract writing? Because I see a lot of calls for application. They want you to do a 250, 300 words abstract. Does this template also speak to the issue of abstract, where you don't need to cite, because in the other one you say you should cite authors, what have been done and what have not been done? How do we attend to that in an abstract where you are just giving 250 or 300 words max using this template we just discussed? Thank you.
Okay, thank you. We'll get back to that shortly. Okay. Pelumi Folajimi, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Hello, can you hear me? Host, can you permit me to talk?
Definitely.
Okay, thank you. My question goes to Professor Olusegun Titus, who actually invited me to be here. I want to ask you, what is the role of diversity in application? For example, if 70 applicants are from either Europe or America, and just about 3 or 4 applicants are from different parts of Africa, what are the likely chances, possibilities of the Africans being given the opportunity, considering the factor of diversity, inclusiveness, and minority representation? Thank you.
Okay, thanks so much. Can we run through this? Then we'll come back to the for other run. So I think let me start from the abstract of a thing. Then the other two perhaps we can share. So the point is about the grandfather's template. That's just a template. Definitely for every grant application, even let's start from a basic article or research. You need to provide a short description of that old document, or in business time they call executive summary. Just a very short 300 word, 400 word, in fact 300 word, 200 word count of the overview. Abstract writing is a different board game from this one. So then what is abstract writing in a basic sense? It's just for you to provide a basic overview explanation of that same thing that you are writing for almost 10-20 pages with a short word. That also has its own format, of course. And like I said, these are issues that we deal with on a case-to-case basis, depending on which the type of work you want to do, the type of application, the type of article, the type of book, the type of whatever you want to do, or the type of business prompt or push or application funding you're applying for. So they function according to the genre of the writing of the application you are doing. But in whole, to answer your question, you need abstract. Definitely, you need that. They will request for that. Yeah, I don't know if that answers your question. So let's move to the next question. Let's have Dr. Titus to respond to that from the idea of diversity now.
Yeah, I'll just mention diversity very briefly, and then on master's grant for master students. Yeah, on the area of diversity, the point is, like you said, Prof. Are you hearing me?
Yes, sir, I can hear you.
Oh, great. Okay, now it's a matter. Look at this we have almost 100 participants in this program, right? Okay, I saw 100 at the time. But I was actually expecting more than that because but this is a good number. But the point is this, okay? Those that are not here at all, there's no way, and they didn't have this idea, there's no way they can even try to make any application. That's why most of the time, Africa, we are almost very, when we compare it with other applications, other places, only very few. In fact, one of my colleagues here told me that someone said that they are expecting more application from Africa in Germany, that they need more application, that they have the money, but we can't see people the money is there, just apply. But apply, something that is beautiful, all right? The money is there. And the white guy told me, that did I have anybody that can bring? He was telling that, just to tell me in privacy, but you must apply, okay? But if you don't apply, there's no way we can force you to come, and when you didn't, they will not come to your house to beg you. Why should 3 people out of 70 apply? And out of the 3, how many of them actually gave their work to their professors to read, or some mentors, or some training? So maybe it will be one, because they will not reduce the quality. In some sense, they may reduce a little bit, but not too. They will still look at the essential things there. So I think the best thing is the issue of like Humboldt. They don't care whether you are from Africa. In as much as you apply and you are qualified, they give you. There's no quota. There's no quota system in Humboldt. The same thing in DAD. They give you. I just want to mention that in DAD for masters programs, we have DAD, and they sponsor a lot of master students here in Germany. Okay. In fact, if you come with your family, they also pay your family members as a master student. All right. So that is why I will employ you. You are degree holder now. You can apply for DAD. And you can also attend my training, and you can also go to Mountain Top. All right, we will give. I'm advising you, Dr. Ayo. You can go to Mountain Top and as you are topping from the mountain, you can come to my own valley, and also so that you can balance. You understand now? That is how, because this one alone will not help you. That's the truth. Go and learn more, and you'll be winning. One of my mentees now, she's here. She just got three grants. The problem we are facing now is how we are going to manage the 3 grants. One of them is 4,000 per month. The other one, so they come in. How do I manage these 3 grants at a go? The other one got 2. So she's here. She's hearing me. She's my mentee, so I know she will not be offended. I didn't mention it anyway. So she got 3 grants, but the problem now is management. Which one should I take? So we have to write, please, I will come later. 3 grants, one person. He's not thinking about salary. He's not thinking about when will they pay salary. No. So that is why you should apply. But you go for training. She attended the training, and she's here. Even though she got 3 grants, she's still here. Thank you, sir. That's my comment.
Let's have Mr. B. Very soon, of course, Doctor. Yeah, we are getting there.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for the question. Let me just go first with the master's fellowships. So the thing is that I think at master's level, in other words, if I'm assuming that you are trying to apply into a master's program or something, I think at that point, without a PhD, I think you should be focusing on getting a PhD. I think that most of the fundings available, especially for research work, they're looking for original work.
Yeah. That
doesn't usually happen until your PhD at your PhD level, working on it, or after it, or when you become a full scholar. So I think what you should be thinking of is getting scholarships, to study, maybe for your master's, and afterwards, maybe for your PhD, if you already have a master's. And for that, like my co-panelist has stated, you do have a lot, like, the dads, you have the Humboldt, you have the Mellon. And in the US, you have the schools. I think that's one of the beautiful things about studying in the US, which is that the schools themselves fund you. So when you apply to the schools, you don't have to apply to an external body. If you apply to the school themselves, they usually have funding. You have to do your research. Not all schools. Some have partial and some have full. So just do that. And I think by the time you start your PhD program, and afterwards, then you can, think of those fellowships, research fellowships, and so on and so forth. I just wanted to add something on the diversity thing. And first of all, that, there's diversity in application. I have to tell you that in the US right now, you have to, there's a quota for diversity. In other words, they want, and is increasing, actually. So actually you have more chances if you are in minority, status, or if you're in the minority, whatever that group is, to get funding. So that is actually not a barrier. That's one. Secondly, is that they also value some sort of your research that promotes diversity, whether in your research itself, in other words, having diverse things that you're working on, or in fact, diverse collaborators. That is even a bigger preference when you have different people that you're working with. And in Nigeria, one way it's applicable, because I remember I was working on one grant and for an organization, because that's another thing, there's personal grant, but also I work with organizations, to help them write grants for them. And, they always stress diversity. And in the US, or in the West, diversity has to do with race. But in Nigeria, diversity can do with different ethnic groups, different languages, different religions, different people, bringing them together, to collaborate on a research. That is a power tool. And finally, again, I working on some grants, and I did some analysis of where most of the funding that is, the organizations that focus on Africa, where most of the fundings go. I would tell you, I was surprised that almost half, if not more than half, of the funding that goes to Africa goes to South Africa.
Yeah.
I looked at, because I have all the information of the organizations, and I did a deep analysis of, who they give, how much they give out. I found out that almost half of all the scholarships, and I've not been promoting myself, but if you wanted to find out, you could reach out, and, I have resources where you can see who they give, when they gave, how long, and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
I found out that half of them, or more than half of almost all the resources, the funding that is allocated to Africa, goes to one country, South Africa. And I try to understand why is this possible, or why is this the case? And this is speculative, but I feel that part of the reason would have been, first of all, the skills to write grant, that maybe the skills are not that well developed in many places. One. Secondly, is the issue of awareness. Like my co-panelists pointed out, a lot of people are not aware. I myself was shocked when I looked at, and these funders, I know personally, they are looking for anything from Africa that is good quality, because they don't want bad quality.
Yeah.
Anything from Africa that is good quality, they will grab it. They are hungry for it. So there's a disconnect between people who have big checks, and when I'm telling you big checks, we're talking about organizations that have $500 billion in their endowment, and every year they give out like $3 billion for, they have to. Some of us who are in academic departments, we know that sometimes when you have funds allocated, that you have to exhaust it in the year, in that financial year. So these organizations, they have money, billions of dollars, millions of dollars. They have to exhaust it, before the end of the financial year. So I think that there's to be more specific, in Nigeria, there's a disconnect between those who want to give and those who need the money. And I think we have to fix that. So there's a lot of funding, just to let you know. Yeah.
Oh, thank you so much. I think just a brief one on the idea of diversity and the master's application. I think everything boils down to idea, again, like Bola just explained. Even if there's quota system for black, for this and that, diversity is everywhere. It's in Germany. I work in Germany for a few years, not just as a full-time scholar, as a professor in a university, one of the biggest university school brand there. So the point is this: would they still look for quality? You must still, the writing is still there. I sat on many for almost a year or 2 years on audition panels for graduate students in Germany and also in the US. I work in the US also, in North America, and I've worked in South Africa. And thank God I have Bola here. We're together with my comrade. So the point is this: the quality is still the point. You still need to learn how to write. You need to understand the basic language of academic business or funding business. You can't, they won't say because of diversity and you can't express yourself, you didn't write well, you can't express yourself, you can't shape ideas. They won't listen to you. Yeah, diversity does not include, actually goes beyond that. You still need to learn that skill. Get, like Dr. Tato said, get that writing skill. Look, also, don't be too carried away. I want money, fine, it's good. But focus on the skill acquisition. Focus on the writing. Read, how to read. How do I read a book? For instance, how do I read this? How do I make it, how do I, condense the ideas? How do I write? How do I listen? These are the kind of basic ideas that we are, even as master student, undergrad, we should focus on grabbing the skill. Then that would, the other ones are, I think they are not too much of a problem if you have the skill. I think that's my own basic point. So let's go to I think we have another question now. Oluwabumi Bernard, please. Oluwabumi Bernard. She's there. Oluwabumi Bernard is there.
So she cannot, maybe the admin should allow her to
okay.
Mute.
Can you see him? Okay, kindly raise your hand. Okay, she's raising her hand now. Okay.
Well, thank you for the opportunity to speak. My name is Oluwabumi Bernard, and thank you to the panelists for the sessions. Well, on the issue of diversity, I was going to raise that at some point that, well, I see all men, only men in this, there are no female representation in the on the panel. Maybe in the future, please allow us to more women to participate as panelists. And also in the line of diversity, I also wanted to ask our honorable panelists, since you have access to some of these grantors, do you have ways of maybe also impressing on them to give more support to women scholars in Africa, especially? Because it's a lot to do research as women. And when you have to also travel sometimes, there are no facilities for women to travel. If they have families or they are pregnant, I have a colleague who almost didn't make a friend who almost didn't make a fellowship because she was pregnant. And these are opportunities that can be lost to women because we can't just up and leave to do this fellowship. So are there ways that you can impress on grantors to kind of also think about women when they are giving when they are giving fellowships or the conditions of fellowship? And I say this because they also assume that all women are married. There are women that have children that are not married. So when they need to travel, they ask them to bring their husbands. Some of them have partners unmarried. Some of them have caregivers who have to take care of their children when they are on fellowships. These are things that are not catered for in fellowships. Can you maybe when they are drafting these fellowships in the future, can you also in a way help us tell them that women need more representation? Thank you.
Okay. Oh, that's a good one. Thanks so much. Just a quick one before I hand over to Dr. Titus and Mr. B. So the first one on the women here on the panel is that this is a series. I'm sure this is your first time here. Is this your first time? Oluwabumi Bernard. So this is, to cut long story short, this is a series that has a timetable for almost a year, a calendar. And for every focus, there's a focus scholars who engage, with ideas, But for instance, next week, I hope you join us next week. We are having all female panel next week. Please join us next week. All female panel on a different topic though. So that is just to tell you that they are on the idea of female representation. We are very concerned about that. It's part of the business here. So next week, look forward to the same time next week. You'll see it's all female panel. So that's just on that. On the other hand, today's focus is about grant making. Your point is quite important. But I also still think in most of the applications that are out there, at least in the last 2-3 years, they are very, 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 very concerned with the role of women. In fact, they stated clearly, particularly women. So perhaps you need to also go online and search. They are so particular about women. Women is key. At least in the last 3 years that I know, for instance. They will state clearly, particularly, we are interested in women. So maybe Dr. Titus can say more about this or unpack this further, and Bola also.
Okay. Thank you, Dr. Bernard. Don't mind Dr. Bernard. She don't win all the fellowship finish as she's in Netherlands as well with her husband and children. Yeah. Sorry, I didn't. I'm withdrawing what I said now. Actually, let me not say it. She's my partner and friend, actually. So, in fact, there are some of the fellowships, as you know, they will even, like Dr. Ayo said, they will say women are encouraged to apply, right? Yeah, I know the condition of maybe they have children, maybe pregnancy and all the rest. And that is why in the West, when someone has a baby, they give you leave. Sometimes, there's kind of leave, a planned leave, so that you can go on leave. And I don't know. I think they also pay them some things during the leave. I guess I think I will find out. So, I think women are highly considered these days. Yeah. Almost all, including all the homeboats, because they say, women they are not enough from Africa. Women, I know. We will have more and more persons here in Germany and other parts of Europe and America very soon. So women are actually strongly advised, but doesn't mean that they will reduce the quality of the entrance. They still maintain the quality. Why? I'm sorry to mention this. Maybe I'm saying this for the first time. I applied for one grant in Nigeria. Some time ago, and they gave it to only one person, myself and that lady, she's not here tonight. And when I look at their comments, this is beautiful. I said, then why are you not giving me this grant? Why is it that you didn't give me? They prefer the lady first before me, because the lady called me that they gave it to her. I said, but they say it's good. Yeah, so in fact, yesterday I still read the comment. I said, these people. Anyway, she's also my friend. So ladies or women are more considered. I feel they should give it to me, but I'm happy they gave it to her. So that's the point.
Thank you so much. Mr. B.
Yes. Just to raise the point, which people may not understand, the US, which is from the perspective from which I speak, women actually are soaring. In fact, there's now a problem that men are behind women in the US. That is in the contemporary politics, or if we're talking about gender achievement, there are more single women who have homes than single men who have homes. In the university, you have up to 60% of women versus men in the university enrollment, and that is due to continue. And when you look at most of the research fundings and everything, they're actually geared towards women. And so even though I register your concern, maybe it is more specific in some places, but from the US perspective, actually, if you're a woman, you're more likely to get those fundings than, even if you're a man. So, only from the US perspective, I'm speaking from. So I think that well, you're right to raise that question, but I think that things have already at least in the US, from what I understand. Yeah. So
thank you so much, Mr. B. Just I think like once I recently a book just came out not too long from a friend of mine. The first title is Women's World. Yeah. Yeah, it's Women's World, and that's quite interesting. Yeah. So, but let's quickly move on. We have someone to raise. We have one more person. Can we take? Okay, let's take. Who is this person? I don't know what's Anne is. I'm trying to get the name of the. Okay, Samuel Lodigwe. Yeah, Samuel.
Hello, sir. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, Mr. Sam, Brother Sam,
Okay.
Dr. Sam. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Please let me appreciate you so much. Let me appreciate you for this particular program. It is very, very interesting, and I think we need more of this, honestly, especially in our country.
It's gone.
Because as far as I'm concerned, there is a great connect, between research, being a very good researcher, and being a good grant writer. There's a great disconnect. So this program is very nice, and it is highly commendable. Actually, I came at the middle of the program because of one or two runs around. But I was able to listen to Mr. Bola when he was making some points, whereby he said, if anyone needs materials, links, sites on how to, on people that have been awarded grants so far and things like that, that it can be of help, to release such materials. So I would like to have access, if possible, on, my question is on how to get access to all those stuff in order to know the list of people that have been awarded before now, so that I will be able to research on my own privately, maybe based on the trajectory, what leads to what, where are they from? Are they from Africa, Asia, and where are they from? Things like that. So I would like Mr. Bola, to help me, with the resources, please. If it warrants me, releasing my email address for him to send it to it, fine and good. So please, this is an appeal, please.
Thank you so much.
Secondly, sir, I would like you to help us with the grandfather's template. If I get you correctly, please, I would like to have that template because I can't boast of being a great grant writer. In fact, I've not written one. So I would like to have like a foundation, a template on how to go about it, in addition to the practical teaching and learning that we are, undergoing at the moment. Thank you so much.
Thanks so much, Mr. Sam. Now, to start with, and this is a general one, for everyone, the series and the program itself is available on our social media platform. Check the chat. You can connect with us on social media and ask your question from us. Whenever you have any question, you are free to go there and send us message. We will definitely get back to you on one hand. Number two, when it comes to grant writing, I agree with Bola and Dr. Titus that you need to do the primary work of getting the basic approach. Start from writing. And that, I think, the first thing you must do is to either link yourself to an institution or a mentor. I think this issues of mentors is quite important in Nigeria, like Dr. Titus mentioned. Yeah. And also how this affects, education but that's another conversation anyway. So the point is that follow us on our social media page, and definitely also all the recordings for the series are available on our YouTube page. As soon as they are edited, they will definitely be uploaded. So we'll make it public on our social media pages also. So follow. The moment you follow, then you can get alerts and update on our programs as soon as possible. Yeah, I think Dr. Bola can hear you. Definitely you can. Yeah, and also you can access everything definitely on our platform. Bola can also send you whatever. I think it's just sent his email as well as Dr. Titus. You can reach out to them, please. Yeah, thank you. That's the essence of this seminar and series. It is about opening the space, opening the ideas, and making it available to everyone. That is why we are doing what we are doing at MTU, at Mountaintop University. We are always open. So that's okay. I think, can we take one more question and we have final words from our presenters, then we can close for the day. Okay, do we have any question, follow-up question from anyone? Any clarifications, any questions? Okay. Or any follow-up word from you, Dr. Titus? I know,
Yes.
I don't mean the advert, I mean the real, I don't mean the advert, I mean the representation, you know.
Yeah, the representation is the part of the advert. You know, I'm an academipreneur, you know, so academic and entrepreneurship. I'm called to build. I'm also, that is why I didn't sleep, you know, because of them Mountaintop, and also because of we want them to win grants, and we don't want them to have depression and frustration, because it could be frustrating when you applied 7 times and you didn't win. I can give you one-on-one training, all right, and you can also go to Mountaintop. But the basic things is that have it in mind, you want to win. That is the first thing. That you are leaving this place, that have it in your mind, you can win. Following all these principles, and this lesson alone is not enough. That is the point. It's not that, oh, this is just about 2-3 hours training, all right? You need to sit down, we look at the proposal, the CV, and not one-on-one. And with that, I did it several years, and now I'm reaping it. Do it, you will repeat. There's no shortcut. You have to follow it, or somebody say on fly, he said, go visible or go home. That is what I say. Go and learn it, or go and sell tomato. It's also good from Sokoto to Lagos. But I'm sure you want to learn. Okay. One of my friends won 50 million US dollar. I have his email. We were both in Germany here. And I said, oh God. Oh Lord, that is one of my prayer points. 50 million. I'm not even asking for 50. It's not that I'm not limiting myself, but I'm not asking for 50. But I calculated it in Nigerian black market. I say, I will just resign from OAU and go and sit down somewhere. You know what I'm saying is this: you can win. All right. I haven't won $1 million, but I'm pursuing it, and I will. So you can win. Thank you.
I like your drive. I like it so much. Thank you so much, Dr. Titus. It's nice having you here today. Let's have Mr. V, closing word, sir.
Yeah, from my perspective, I think it's really about being strategic. That you have to be strategic. I believe in the process of aligning, yourself with, make sure that there is no disjuncture. There's nothing that is off, in terms of what you want to do, your project, your budget, your timeline, and everything. It's visible, it's feasible, and that you align it with the organization, and that you're committed to your work, and that you do your due diligence. You read, you do all that you have to do. But I think for me, one of the things that, as you might anticipate, I like the most is storytelling. And I think that when you write grants, all the most important grant writing books and courses And in my own personal, both personally writing grants and also helping organizations write grants, is to be able to tell short, succinct, very effective stories that in it has all the details that the funders are looking for. I think that is a winning strategy. So I think you should be thinking about storytelling, but of course, that is informed with good writing skills, good research, good alignment. And I think, yeah, you'll be up to something great. Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Mr. B. Thank you. Well, from my own side, the closing word is basically that it's very possible. You can win anything. It's possible. But going back to the first question is that you must understand the genre, what you want to do, where you need to do it, and who. So that is the basis. You need to understand. If you're an artist, you need to locate artistic platform that can fund your work. If you are into research productions, there are, for instance, British Council in Lagos. They are there. American Embassy, they have their cultural attaché, the Goethe Institute. So these are bodies, for instance, in Nigeria or Lagos, that will fund artistic work. In fact, they've been busy with this in the last 2-3 years, from these new emerging cultures in Nigeria. So this is more like they can fund you yeah. So then focus on the writing. The writing thing is so important. You can't escape it. Even if you have the best ideas, the best whatever, you still need to learn that skill. It's different to talking. It's a culture. It's a mode of communication. People live in that space. You need to also learn to live in that space. And it's so simple. Approach institutions where you can get that kind of training. So in closing, thank you so much. Again, for those who joined recently, this is the Organ House Concert and Seminar Series. It's a space for knowledge, artistic work, exploration, performances, and ideas that concerns everyday music making and art and humanities general, both in Nigeria, Africa, and across the world. So we have this on a weekly basis. Next week we will be here. Upper week we will be here. So for today, thanks for joining us. Again, we want to thank Mountaintop administration for giving us and supporting us. This program is for Mountaintop University, Department of Music, but we are happy to have this stage here as part of our business and agenda for the Department of Music. Thank you so much. And for any information, follow our social media pages and send us your queries, clarifications, whatever you need in terms of including admission process and the kind of things we do, the kind of concert series we have, the kind of performances we have, productions, scholarships, scholarly activities like this. So we are looking forward to hearing from you. So thanks so much, Dr. Titus and Mr. B. Thank you so much. This is really awesome. We thank you for your insights and the hard work you put into this presentation. I can see how much you brought into this and that you shared. Thank you so much. However, this is just the first one. We are having the second layer. Perhaps at the second layer, I would dance to Dr. Bernard's challenge. Perhaps we are going to have her as the third presenter. I won't be the third presenter anymore for the follow-up questions, for the follow-up panel. So look for the follow-up to this particular. So this is one we are having the version 2 sometime soon. We'll announce and you get to know. Thank you so much. See you next week.
Department mtu.com or contact 0817-135-3575 or 0809-765-0559. Mountaintop University, empowered to excel. Mountaintop University, empowered to excel. Welcome to the Department of Music, Mountaintop University, the Center of Excellence in Music, a one-stop center for music education, research, music archiving, documentation, and music production. We offer top-notch music education that leads to the award of diploma, bachelor, masters, and doctors of philosophy in music, with our state-of-the-art facilities and committed world-class facilitators ready to guide your path to stardom. Our music laboratory is dedicated to music research with over 50 workstations equipped with ultra-modern music composition and production of softwares, musical instruments, and equipment to enhance your learning and prepare you for the world's stage. Here in Organ House, you can become a performer with great skills, a musicologist, ethnomusicologist, or composer. Our recording studio boasts of top-notch equipment, well-trained sound studio engineers within a conducive environment for creative works. Our studio is also good for group choral rehearsals, solo artist and band recordings, as well as voiceover recordings, jingles, birthday shout-out, and any other voice-related works. At the music department, you will meet a well-motivated staff who are ready to take up the challenge of turning your talent to stardom. For more information, visit our website at www.musicdepartmentntu.com or contact 0817-135-3575 or 0809-765-0559. Mountaintop University, empowered to excel.